Good evening, everybody. System Chalk here with the 132nd episode of Book of Hours, playing as the artist, our first run through YouTube, or on YouTube. And I'm recording a few more episodes well in advance. Again, this is kind of in anticipation of some of my travel and the fact that I've been really busy and really tired lately. So I'm going to... I have a pretty clear plan in terms of how this season's going to go. And what we're going to start off with is the delivery from Cater and Hero. The other thing that I'm going to want to do is make some really clear plans in terms of exactly what skills I plan on leveling up and sort of what the game plan is for those. So perhaps surprisingly, I'm going to be sitting on this this lesson. Oh, hang on. Yeah. So the many-faceted lesson. Now, the drawback behind this one is you'll notice that it does not have a persistent memory. I'm actually going to need to hold on to this night over night if I want to do this. But there will be a benefit to doing so. Sorry, just give me a quick second here. I have to unplug something. This is something of a risky strategy on my part, but it is one that I'm hoping will pay off in the near term. There we go. I just have a list of things that I want to do on a notepad here. Okay, so one of the things that we're going to want to do over the course of the next little while is restore all the persistent memories. Now, there's kind of a game plan that I can put together in terms of the memories that I want to bring back. But to be completely honest, like just having them on its own is already kind of helpful. So in this case here, what I'm going to do, I think the first thing that I want is to get Numa ready to go. There's nothing stopping me from, putting that all together at the start. So actually, we're unpacking the paper. We'll get the paper and then we'll go ahead. So I can get an old wound. I can get the wormwood dream. There's a bunch of different things that I can make. I think we're going to wait for the weather before we see what I can build. I thought that I would need to restore my elements of the soul, I thought I would need a drink for the recovery, but that didn't turn out. Okay, so one thing I'd kind of maybe like to try and do is get the Hive's Lament back. So I think we can do that at the drums. So if I take a health and I combine that with drums and dances, and yeah. So I'm short the one extra. In this case here, the health isn't that big of a deal. Actually, no, I don't have an instrument. So yeah, in this case, this'll have to do. So another thing that I might want to do, I think we're already talking with Mrs. Kill, who can generate some memories for me. But one thing that might be nice is just, any of the music or anything along those lines. Things that basically require memories. We just take whatever Mrs. Kill gives me, and, those are some nice, easy, straightforward memories to get. In fact, if I think about it, the Ascendant Harmony or the Wind and Waiting shouldn't be that hard to get either. That's the Didumos. Oh, it might be difficult because I have the wrong... Furs and Feathers, where are you? Yeah. Not so easy after all. But an Ascendant Harmony shouldn't be that hard, so let's get the Applebright Euphonies. Now that doesn't require a memory, which is what makes that appealing. So I've already got a couple of items. Oh, sorry, I just need to make my notes. Oh dear. Okay. So Ascendant Harmony's on its way. Ives Lament. I should probably see if I can get the... oh, we are already doing that. Okay. So yeah, I'm okay waiting, I think. Mrs. Kill stands ready to help. You always cheer me up, she says morosely. So, talk to Mrs. Kill. Mrs. Kill has seen more of the world than she usually lets on. Conversations with her yield the occasional surprise. So the main purpose of the conversations with Mrs. Kill right now are to get the get just memories that will be sort of fuel for future future improvements. Unwrap, unbox, unleash. All right, so I got to replace the paper that was in the old places. I'm also going to add new paper. I don't know, put that. So any room that doesn't have ordinary paper, or room with a desk that doesn't have ordinary paper, gets paper. Okay, cool. So that means I've got to... Oh, hang on. And then I have some spare. I always keep thinking that this is a desk that you can write at. Although maybe putting this on the workbench isn't so bad. Okay. So, yeah, as far as consider goes, I don't really have that much that I need to work with. I suppose maybe grabbing a storm wouldn't be a bad idea right now, so we can combine that with... We've got more than enough metal, so investigate the object. You won't use this up or consume it by doing this. Now, one thing I may not have... I won't say the time, but one thing that I may not want to do over the course... Hang on. Okay, yes. Actually, I'm going to reorganize the inks. Forge, Grail, Nectar. Yeah. There it is, a Gabino Tizzer. Mrs. Kill, as every local gossip knows, came from France to marry Mr. Kill, but there's scant trace of the continent in her accent now. So presumably the librarian's saying, you call that a storm? This is a storm. That's fine. We're good to go. So yeah, I can probably make an Ascendant Harmony. I might be able to make something even bigger now that we have a couple more. The only thing I'm really worried about here is this lesson. I can see like 100 different ways that this will cause me problems. The thread parts, the weave is empty, the sky is cry out. Alright, so this seems like as good a time as any for me to try and combine the storms. I would need an Ascendant Harmony for that, so... What am I trying to do here? And then I'd need the Mazarine Fife to make the Wind in Waiting, so we're just gonna wait. A story has no beginning or end. Arbitrarily, one chooses that moment of experience from which to look back or from which to look ahead. Graham Greene. The Affair of the Second Skin. Immortals change more slowly than most of us, but even immortals change sometimes. In the city of Marrakesh, the Labite Abykassis has begun a dramatic and dangerous metamorphosis, one that's alarming friends and enemies alike. Azita. The edgelong Azita's eternal enemy twin, Marad, planned to give Abykassis death with honor. With regret, Azita set out to prevent this. Lalakaima set out to end Abykassis' misery, although her ultimate intention remained uncertain even to her. Fraser Strathcoyne hoped but did not expect to shield Abykassis from his hunters. Arthur Moore. Lieutenant Moore resolved to take Abykassis into the custody of the Labyrinth of Lions, and the Alpine came to believe that Abykassis had accepted gifts of sustenance from she who suckles serpents. So there is a continuation to this when Book of Hours comes in. And we have Mademoiselle Margot Matutine, socialite, yachtswoman, and under the name Morgan, an Alucite, Elysian. The former means, among other things, that she eats people. The latter means, among other things, that she is not to be taken lightly. I can't remember. Well, obviously we have talked with her because she's interested in Sky, but nothing particular is afoot. My visitors this season will likely just want a general consultation. There, Tizagabino Tizzer. Mrs. Kill, as every local gossip knows, came from France to marry Mr. Kill, but there's scant trace of the continent in her accent now. So I will get around to making a few more... I'll do a few more things with memories. I should also make the... Oh, right, yeah, we've put the paper down, so I really should be making my petition for Numa again. Yeah, sorry, I don't think I said this as clearly as I wanted. So one of the things that I wanted to try and do was double up a few of the elements of the soul, and I think just because I want to try and generate as many memories as I can over the course of a Numa, it's actually less likely that that's going to happen. That's a real shame. I think I'll just get myself a pattern to save myself the trouble here. So I can read Traveling at Night, Volume 3. I've already mastered this, but I could reread it and perhaps recall a memory. Okay. Sea-strewn, salt-snared stuff. Now, I guess the one thing that's nice about this is, I believe if I add her to my my list of contacts, I'll get the occult scrap, and then I won't need to worry about the yellow newspaper. With Keeper level Sky, an Ascendant Harmony might conjure a Didymos. Okay, so... I think I can do something a little unorthodox with the... Oh my. But I can't add the... I can't add the memories then. So I don't think it will count for much. So if I want... Yeah, you know what? Let's just make the Didymos. Although, with that in mind, why take up the... Oh, right, yeah. So replacement Ascended Harmony. We've got my Hive's Lament. I should probably be keeping better track of the persistent memories that I want to keep. So, Ascended Harmony, Hive's Lament, Didumos. I'll maybe worry about the Invincible Audacity later. Let's try and make a Wormwood Dream. I think I'm a little short for the Wormwood Dream. Yeah, I'd need more moon. But there's nothing stopping me from making the Old Wound, so we'll start with that. And maybe what I'll do here is I'll start bringing in a few things that will help me along those lines. So we can read 108. Also read the Book of the Centipede. Now, Mrs. Kill may give us something that works. Sorry, Mrs. Kill may give us something that, or may already give us the intuition. That's a shame if that happens. It's not the end of the world, but this is really about trying to get myself in a good position to get the remaining persistent memories. Okay, gossip. So we're gonna hold off with Mrs. Kill for a bit, and we will help our visitor. Perhaps I should call myself Sapphire. Alright, so let's give her something Grail. We should have a simple Grail book. Apparently not. Oh, there we go. The Orchid Transfigurations, a feast. My visitor has questions about blood or birth or both. My collection has answers. All right, that was a mistake. I mean, it already says suitable reading, but I'm gonna make sure I get that that right. The fact that I get an occult scrap out of this makes me not want to take any chances. And I should have followed up with the beachcombing. I think I might be able to get a curious hunch out of this. Oh, and an enduring reflection if I am so inclined. Melancholy's Disquisitions on Fire and the Unburnt... Traveling at Night, Volume 3, The Annotated Dream Journals of Christopher Alapoli, sometimes called the only readable occultist, literate, entertaining, bewildering. Alapoli's Disquisitions on Fire and the Unburnt God are interrupted by passages of distractingly erotic poetry addressed to Baldemera. To reach the Stag Door, I believe that all you really need is to want something enough. But I've never wanted anything that much, except of course Baldemera, and I'm very much afraid that the knot in the story is this. What Baldemera wants is the Stag Door. But here's something I learned in Persia. Perhaps it'll teach you what you want. Okay, so we did that so that we can get the petition written, which we'll do now. Or maybe not, because I just gave up the preliminal meter. I think this will still work. I do not want to write a door and wall manuscript. compose a petition to the Beach Crow. Okay, so I don't see it in the list here, but it does say, so with the proper arts and signs and a proper encastum, a librarian of the house might find a way to attract the direct attention of an hour. The Beach Crow has no dominion over Numa, no hour does, but he knows it better than some. Perhaps he will find the season. Okay, we have the Book of the Centipede in the mid-1860s when Madame Yi presented an entertainment based, she claimed, on this book. The centipede always found her way into the dark places. When she was punished for it, she reacted badly, in the Mansus as in Maya. The river runs through the sands out of myth and into legend. The painted river runs the other way. One is barred to the centipede now, but she finds ways back in sometimes. 108. Ava de Wolf discourses on the fifth history, and particularly on those who are said to have passed over from it, the Great Hooded Princes, the Knocklong who ascended under the Mother of Ants, but now, so Ava claims, honor the Horned Axe. The Great Hooded Princes call their library the Tomb of Lies, and this has given rise to a foolish tradition that the princes are habitual liars. Of course, in fact, truth flourishes when lies are slain. On the other hand, the princes do not say knowledge is power, but rather power is knowledge. Ava has, to her regret, never visited the library. She notes that it is said to be west of the Lion and north of Victory, and suggests that, although the princes are generally associated with India, their library might be further east. Move gingerly while the pain lasts. Okay, so let's see if we can put together a Wormwood Dream without too much trouble. Now my preference here would be to use this memory. Okay, yeah, so if we just throw another Tristan. Now my other option, actually, you know what, just to preserve my Elements of the Soul, we can go to the, not this one. We can go to the reading room desk. So if I use the intuition here, so we can take that with a Trist, and then the Edicts Martial. So I'm going to need to think a little bit about the Forbidden Epic, but I have some ideas along those lines too. So if we take the Lunar Globe, that lets me make the Wormwood Dream. So I suppose what I would want to do for the moon, and this would be for future. Let me just knock a couple of these other ones off. So I think one answer for me would be to get a Newman. Now I'd like to have some variety in the Newman just because loopholes might be interesting. We did the Great Counterfeit already. We've done Weaving the World. Yeah, so actually loopholes is the last real option that I have. I believe we use the Serpent Root. We'll need Crack Track for that. Alright, Nectar, the Fruits of Knowledge. I've already mastered this, but I could reread it and perhaps recall a memory. So I'm a little curious what happens when I have two books like this. How visceral. You've satisfied your visitor and earned a reward, but the more they learn, the harder they'll be to satisfy in the future. Oh, that's interesting. So neither of these seem to have... interesting. So that might be a sneaky way that I can avoid... well, I mean, it doesn't... That may be true, but that doesn't save me when I actually want to progress stories forward. So that might have been something that was a little bit of an exploit in the old version of the game, but with the expansion, you actually kind of shoot yourself in the foot. Anyway, we'll worry about the expansion when it comes out. My bad. What you might call an occult correspondence. Will they come when you do call for them? Occult scrap. Secret histories are layered beneath the ones we know, like the notes in a rare wine. The librarian knows this well. So I'm going to have to do some work on my own, just to work out exactly what the schedule looks like for the kind of the various elements I'm going to be using to level everything up. Again, we're going to be waiting on the arrival of a book before I decide what the final skills to get leveled up will be. With Keeper Level Sky and Ascendant Harmony might conjure a Daidumos. So we're already working on the Daidumos. I suppose my next step would be the Wind in Waiting. We'll probably need a Newman for that. So let's think about... Well, we'll have a chat with Mrs. Kill, first of all. And perhaps... maybe I should try the Curious Hunt. Oh, Curious Hunt is all well and good, but I actually need this skill back. The Horizon Sight would be something that I can get. And then the Earth Sign is actually a straightforward one. I should have got that right away. I've already mastered this, but I could reread it and perhaps recall a memory. I do like the rainy days. Just there's something about that rain sound, particularly when the soundtrack kicks in, that just feels right. Okay, we can chuck the sand. No real value here. The design is complete. To travel via the way of the lower skies, it must be sanctified with the proper seal by one charged with the delivery of messages of import. Okay, so we are going to... Courier of the lower skies. The dream of a star is not apparent to the human eye, but its presence, once felt, could not be mistaken for anything else. No star is permitted upon Earth, but we may cozen them to dream of us, and the dream of a star may take a kind of form which we call Daidumos. Serpent root, a mass of rootstock, shiny with age, but still somehow viable. Tiny spidery scratchings marked with embedded eggshell shards encode a cryptic message. Seaborn tide drawn, Menescate's sister, witch lover. The House of the Moon will always have its messenger, though its messenger is different each time, in eye and flesh and heart. Fights Postern's loophole set down against the advent of eternity by powers favoring imperfection and impermanence. When eternity came into the world, certain prudent powers arranged loopholes, the House of the Moon, the persistence of possibility, the right to vengeance. In the right histories, those loopholes will open again. Any librarian, can use this to establish a history and complete the game, but the Twiceborn can win a particular victory. Now, I'm a little interested here. I don't believe we took a look at knock. And we certainly have no shortage of that. So let's take the Porphyryne, the shaft, loopholes, door and wall. Oh, I think we did read this after all. So speech the wound. Language is a scar. It was language that tore open the Mansis. Without language, we could have had no wars. Without language, we would still be fire, earth, sky. So with that in mind, I'm curious what the rose looks like. Okay, we have done speech of the key. Language is a key. It was language that opened the doors of the mansis. Without language, we could have had no peace. Without language, we would still be beasts, worms, mud. The postmistress accepts the message, weighs the spentria, finds them both sufficient. I guarantee nothing, she tells me. Numa cannot be bidden, but now and then it has been successfully petitioned. Keeper level rose, and enduring reflection gives rise to visions of wilder possibilities. So any old memory will do here. Let us hope it's equally possible to forget this again. So let's see if I can sneak in a... what would be a good way? I think probably one of the moon altars. Not so easy. Well, no, we've got a chance here, actually. So if we take the loopholes and we combine the confounding parable, so then we take the Edicts Martial, and then I add a second tryst. There we go. There's the Forbidden Epic. We'll probably wind up going overnight for this, but that's fine. De Rashu Quercum. In English, the title translates roughly as The Account of the Oaks, but this is Nathaniel Darcy Ever's fascinating, if haphazard, survey of the occult properties of every tree he can find, not just oaks. In Persia, Taxus Baccata, the yew, is called Sorkdar, which is the red tree. There they had long understood the Grail root. In later times, the great king of Pontus had beehives set in the branches of the oldest of the female trees. The berries of the Pontine yew open the door to death, but the honey of their flowers opens a different door entirely. This is not the great king's Mithridate, but one who has suckled at the great yew fears poison no longer. Perhaps they should. Nathaniel is here distracted, however, by the toxic properties of certain inks. He does mention more usefully that the minor ink of power Yew-Gall can be brewed through rites of the roots with the assistance of the aspect nectar. Okay. I don't really think there's much else for us to do today. I need to make sure that the many-faceted lesson is set aside. Oh, another Newman. So this one I want a Sky one. For that, okay, so for Sky we have Back into Balance, which I believe we've already looked at. Old Lost Music. Now we've already looked at Rose, but I don't believe we've seen Scale yet. A Final Understanding would give us Rose, Sky, and Winter, so I think we've done those. Yeah, so Old Lost Music, the Ramsond calligraphy manual. I won't play straight to the end of the night, but I do want to make sure that the many-faceted lesson is taken care of before we finish for the day. All right, night has fallen. Dawn will come soon. So tuck you away. Now that night has fallen, I can rest and perhaps dream on the day's doings. And overall, I think we did a good job in terms of the persistent memories. So we've got the old wound, the enduring... Actually, it's probably better for me to report the ones that I don't have yet. So we still need the Curious Hunch, but that's on its way. A Horizon Sight, Wind in Waiting, a Forbidden Epic, which is on its way, and an Earthquake name. Oh, sorry, I think I forgot the Invincible Audacity. But yeah, definitely we're in a pretty good position to get most of those tomorrow. And then again, we're waiting on Oriflammes because that's really going to make some decisions in terms of what we can use the various lessons for. But I'm feeling pretty good about our options over the next little while. So again, we'll see where it all goes. But I think it's pretty... I think we're in a good spot. I will also mention that this is probably going to be the last spring for this playthrough. I know some people have... I've always liked the people who are polite about it or who have maybe been quietly wondering but haven't said it in the comments. But we are actually... I think it's fairly clear by what we're doing with the journal. We're getting quite close to the end of the game here. So I'll have a couple of special moments which... are things I'm specifically waiting to have happen in the stream, but we're definitely getting to a point where this playthrough will finish. But that, of course, is something to be saved for future episodes. So thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.